Whoa.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing!
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Be Exposed Radio.
It's a family affair if you want to look at it that way.
It is. I totally agree, and I believe I believe that this wisdom on the wall is going to be a movement, and that's what I believe we are doing. Is we're creating a movement where people essentially, even after we've presented in these workshops, then they'll be inspired to sort of document some of the things that they've gone through and empower somebody else. So it'll be like a chain effect. So they'll see that, we were just three women who have gone through various things and experiences in our lives, and we just took the opportunity to sit down, put it in a book, and then it'll be a movement, and then other women will be inspired to do the same thing. Let me tell you, we are better together. We are so much better together, family. I'm telling you. When we band together, put our resources and our experiences together, we can create a movement, and that's what it's about, inspiring people to do more than what they may currently see of their own lives, that they can do so much more. So yeah,
you are exactly right.
Be Inspired Radio Show. Tune in every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I'm a little on the giddy side. I can't even lie. Like, yeah, right. Cheers to that. Hump day. We've made it. Hump day. Girl. It's hump day. Oh my God. Like, that's funny. No, I'm a little excited because I don't get a lot of opportunities to really share space with you. True. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're at events together, we're working things together, we're here, we're there at the same time, or we work with the same people at different times. So therefore we don't see each other. I know my movement, I literally completed my movement. Right. Just for personal reasons, like I just absolutely. And so I just didn't. Yeah. So it's like, unless I have to be. Right, I won't be. Right. So, like, I'm excited because when we do connect, you know what I mean? Like, when we finally find space, like even the 15 minutes we had, a few days ago, like, it's always, right, like, I was excited. Social media, like, denies and surprises so much. It's like, oh. Right. Like, can we be, I don't know, because, like, I think social media has changed the dynamics of, relations. Well, it helps with the quality, but it's up to each individual to determine the quality. Right. Like, you can definitely, I love that, like, I can keep in touch with so many people across the country, across the world. Like, that's really, really nice, really at my fingertips. The hard part for me has been the fact that, like, it's become a crutch. So, like, I don't always put the extra effort into connecting with people, and I kind of leave it up to fate, which is, kind of a gamble, because, you never know. Like, I don't know when the next time we might have run into each other, like, and it's crazy because, like, we know everybody together in common, you know what I mean, all up and down the East Coast, like, for real, which is amazing how that is, right? Like, I know you've been, like, in the game as far as entertainment, arts, and things, a whole lot more than what I have. But there are people here in the local scene that I've known outside of art for a very long time, so it feels like I've been in the circle a lot longer than what it actually appears to be. Right. So I definitely. Like, we work together, and you're just like, how did that now than any other time prior. Right, which is always so crazy. Like, you know, I used to like listen.
That's when faith really works. When you leave the faith where it actually
To actually connect you with people. And you know what? I found that the relationships I made that way, because they weren't forced.
Yeah.
They weren't, I didn't make any compromises. Like, that person didn't make any compromises.
Yes.
We kind of just let the chips fall where they may, and things just fit together, you know? And I always think that that's, you know, those relationships have a more realistic balance.
It depends. Like, it varies. Like, there are people who I've known before social media.
Right.
We're not friends now. There are people who I've known during social media. We were actually more personable outside of social media. We're not friends now. I have people who I've only known via social media, and we're like super close for no reason.
Right.
And so it's just really, you know, and even so there are people who I'm super, super close with, and we talk all the time on social media or on the phone, but we're never together in person, and they live here in the city.
Now, see, that's always, like, and that's like my big, like, that was like a big, I don't know, like, kind of like a thing that bothered me was that, like, and I'm that person, like, because I live typically such a public life.
Yeah.
Most people know me, know my face, you know, things like that. When I'm not working,
Yes.
you know, I retreat into, like, my home, into my space, to my quiet place, because what most people don't understand is that I gotta write.
Yes.
I've gotta create. And
This
I
is
can't
where I've been
write
going
and
through.
create, you know, like, they see random Facebook questions pop up. That's because I'm sitting there drinking coffee and I'm writing.
Yeah.
And a random thought will come through my head. And like I said to Monty the other day, I was like, because he said, was this all of, you know, show-related stuff, like radio show-related stuff? And I said sometimes, but sometimes it's literally just me trying to get it out and
Yes.
find out. I got 5,000 Facebook friends, you know?
Somebody's got something to say.
Somebody's got something to say, which will help enlighten me, because I can only see my own perspective.
Exactly.
But I write from many
things.
perspectives. So I've got to
But you still get wrapped up in your, you still get
I
trapped
get
in your
wrapped
own
in
bubble.
my own thoughts, in
Yeah,
my own bubble.
You get stuck in your own bubble. I think that's what I'm currently going through. Like, I haven't written anything probably not since 2016.
Okay, so you're still beating me. I thought I was bad. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation specifically with you is because I haven't written anything since May.
Okay.
Which doesn't seem like a long time to most, but I was like a person who wrote every day.
Exactly.
And I'm not writing as much. Like, I'm trying to, like, so I'm putting the habits back in place. I'm having my coffee. I'm relaxing. I'm reading a few articles. You know, I'm thinking about the things that make me tick. And then random questions pop up, and then I get feedback. I take a lot of notes. I'm webbing, but I haven't really pulled, you know, put the pen to paper.
I think,
in other
honestly,
words.
believe it or not, I wasn't like an everyday writer. Never was. I got notes and notes and notes for days, and depending on if something really, really clicks and resonates for me, I'll pull up something that I actually had notes on.
Right.
And
then
follow up.
And follow up, yeah.
So, like, some stuff I have is, like, years in the making.
Right.
Like, my chapbook that I did in 2016, that was done in 2013. It was done.
It was done.
In 2013.
Right.
It literally was done. Like, a good, like, 70% of it was already done in 2013. It was just a question of financially being able to put it out. And also, like, it was done, but it wasn't done enough for me.
Right,
and it wasn't
because
a particular
as a
point.
writer, you go through several
phases
versions and phases
Yeah.
and feelings about a manuscript before you're ready to publish. I had an anthology where I had collected a lot of work from a lot of people that I still will publish, but I was supposed to publish it at the end of first quarter.
Yes.
But not their work, but my work wasn't at the level that I felt like it needed to be.
To be complementary to the rest.
To really bring, because I'm supposed to be the glue that binds.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and I wasn't bringing it. And it's funny because what used to be very erotic literature for me has become more, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry, I'm having a, this is why people get random thoughts on it, because I'm having 3 or 4 thoughts at the same time.
Exactly.
It's like, what am I trying to say? It wasn't, it's not erotic as much, it's suggestive. Now, like, you're going to have to become the character. You're going to have to actually read it.
It's one of those things about it is, you know, I'm writing, you know, as far as poetry is concerned, like, I think about all the stuff that I haven't written. You know, like, erotica was quite accidental.
Right. It always is.
I won't say, like, I have volumes and volumes and volumes of stuff. Erotica is definitely learning how to, I was trying to avoid being open doing erotica, you know, or you feel like erotic poetry is definitely one of those life imitating art situations.
Because it can feel like that because a lot of people try to do it.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be.
But it doesn't have to be.
And I think actually the best poem I ever did was the first like erotic poem I ever did that really like wowed people. Was not based on a true story by any means. And it you know, it was a testament to me being a creative writer, being able to write, you know, about anything from any space. Mm-hmm. And I needed a lot of help. Like I actually had actual just really good writers motivate me and prompt me and so forth and so on. Just, you know, like stop looking at this as just this, look at it as, you know, on a wider spectrum, and maybe you'll be able to, you know, micro by looking at it from a macro.
Right.
So, you know, I was like, okay, and that's, you know, where it came from. And then I was able to be a little bit more personal and be able to, you know, since I knew I was able to jump that hurdle, then I could write about things that may be personal, may not be personal, or just what was just on my mind.
Right. And that's always been my space. I write what's on my mind. And it's funny how life changes, and getting into our topics slightly before we got to get ready to take a break.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I've lost my muse. You know, like, and not necessarily, my muse was not a person, but something that I had created. But we got to take a break. We'll get into that in a minute.
And refills.
And we have to refill. So we'll be right back with this week's Hump Day Discourse. We're continuing the Autumn Articulation series, Amuse Me. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show. Now here's one little speech I'm going to give you before I get into the next article. Here's what I want to tell you. Still, fear is big business. Fear is big business. I'm not telling you not to be alarmed by what you're seeing. I'm not telling you not to be concerned. What I'm saying is not to buy into the notion that we should be afraid. You should be informed. You should be aware. You should start educating yourself about some things. I don't have the solutions. I don't have the answer. I wish I could say that if you did X, Y, and Z, you might not get shot by the police. I wish I could tell you that, but I can't. But what I can say is just start making yourself aware of what's going on, but don't be so consumed by what you're seeing that you become afraid, that you don't want to go out. Or you become numb. That's a good point, Nate. Nate said, or you become numb to it, like you just don't care. So we need you to just continue to be in touch with what's going on, but educate your family, talk to your sons, talk to your daughters, because it's not just limited to men. We know from Sandra Bland, she was a young woman who was killed. And we don't want to say, we don't know all the details behind what happened. No, the fact is that person's life still matters. They still have rights. They should not just be killed dead before they even get a trial. Okay, that's the point. They deserve a trial at least, but they can't even make it to the jail cell to get a trial, to be tried. They're being killed even before arrest. Terrible. So that's my soapbox.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off? I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run. The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, one with a home run,
hit the home run.
Right.
They were going into that National Series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game. That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm going to talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Their run differential is a negative 65, which is just horrible. So when you have, well, let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
how much you're winning or losing your games by, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. It's like the margin of victory, kind of.
Right.
So when you're in a negative number, that means that you're.
Then your average game you're losing
by a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, a number like negative 65, this early in the season is pretty rough.
That's horrible.
The pitching numbers pretty much support this stat right here. I mean, the team ERA is 4.70, which is 26th in the league. They have 126 walks allowed. They acquired Jared Weaver in the offseason, and he really has not panned out. He's off to one of the worst starts in any of the pitchers in 2017. He's 0-4 with a 6.05 ERA. In May alone, he already has 12 earned runs. 12 earned runs in May. And, another one of their pitchers, Clayton Richard, he's 2-4 with a 4.34 ERA. And, in May, he has 6 earned runs and 12 innings pitched. So they're not pitching well. And on top of that, they are also not batting well.
Right. But it kind of sucks because Manuel Margot is doing pretty good. His the past few at bats, his last.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back. We are celebrating Hump Day.
Hump Day.
Hump Day.
I'm sorry,
cheers to that.
Cheers.
Cheers to that. Salute.
Hey.
We are celebrating Hump Day. We are halfway through this week.
It's almost over.
It's almost over. We have started our series, Articulations, because this is my favorite time of year.
I don't get it because I'm from LA, and I was born in the spring. Yeah. I don't like none of this. Okay, none of this. This fall pumpkin spice.
And you know what's so crazy?
I could care less for it, frankly.
And I get it. Like, I prefer super, super hot weather.
Yeah, summertime.
Matchy
dresses.
It can't get
cutoffs.
Like it can't get hot enough for me. Like, honestly speaking, I'm never hot. However, the artist in me, the painter in me,
loves the transition.
And the change. All
and
that.
I'm like, honey.
Right. But there's all that. So but autumn is inspiring to me. The fall is inspiring to me. So, we're doing this series.
Yes.
Autumn Articulations.
Yes.
Because this series is very authentically Wren.
Yes.
There's no influences coming from other sides. I'm not reaching out and pulling in. This is for my fans, for my viewers, for the people who are with me. This is the closest you can get to knowing me.
While in your artistic process.
While in my artistic process. Because most people don't see the process. They only see Conclave, they see books, they see, blogs, they see posts, they see me performing on stages with random people.
Yes.
Like, they don't see the process that leads up to those moments. However, before we went on break, we were talking about the fact that both of us writers
yes.
have not written
in
anything
while.
in a long time.
I got you beat. Like
you do have me beat on that. Like I haven't written since the spring, which is bothersome for me because I went through the summer, which was actually very peaceful, and I did a lot of like reflection and growing. So I was expecting this like.
It didn't happen?
No.
That makes me nervous because it's been like 2 years. Like this fall will probably be about 2 years since I've written anything. Like I was traveling a lot in 2016. Like I did my chapbook, and I was traveling with I was with the Few Good Men tour with Just Mike Poet.
Yeah.
Vision. I opened for them in Baltimore, like Baltimore, DC, New York. And I added a couple of places on my own, like I was in New England area, so like Boston and whatnot. And I was touring with writer's block, and it didn't make any sense to me. I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this, and people were saying like, oh, like other artists, other writers were like, oh, this is fine, it's totally fine.
But it's not.
It didn't feel like
I felt guilty.
Right. I felt guilty. But like
the last like big show I did, other than like linking up with like Punani Poets and stuff like that. The last big show I did was Haunted Fantasies.
Okay.
And it was a BDSM geared lifestyle show. And it's weird to not be sure who you are. Like you can't go into a lifestyle party and not be sure. You can't go
and not have your identity established.
And not have your identity established.
Bad idea. Somebody can get hurt.
Somebody can get really hurt. And you definitely can't be a dominant or a master, which I am.
Yeah.
And not be like I wasn't feeling much like a master.
In the moment.
Do you know what I mean? At the moment, or mistress. I was not that woman. And I couldn't figure out what was going on because something had changed. Something had shifted.
Exactly.
And the shift, at first I was very, what's the word? Adversarial towards the shift. Exactly. And I can't even think of
a lot of pushback to it. You just like,
absolutely. I was like, nah. Like I'm comfortable with this life. This is how
this is what I work so hard to build up and to create for myself.
Right.
Externally.
This is what it is.
We're going with this because I put all this work into it, and nothing's going to move me from that. And now you're like in your mind, you're like, it stopped feeling as authentic as it once did. You're like, what happened?
So then I started, thinking, what's changed, and what used to be my inspiration, which was funny. It was dumb things. I would find the smallest things in the world to feel, that bring a certain thought or a certain, and I guess as I have grown and gotten older, and some of it is age, road to 40 for me, like one of the big things that have changed, I think, or the dynamic that has changed is that I'm no longer looking for inspiration in a lot of places. I'm looking for an authentic muse, just one, something tangible, something that I can feel and touch and taste and smell and see. Because what I love about the erotic industry and sex in general is that it's one of the only acts you can do where you're encompassing all of your senses, both your conventional senses and your spiritual senses at one time.
It's one of the things that I found, like these 2 years, I had like a lot of personal financial issues, totally rocked me top to bottom. So you ain't got time to think about sex when you're broke.
And I think that really plays. Hold that thought.
Yes.
Because I was just prompted that we need to take a break. You know how we do on Be Exposed Radio. This is Autumn Articulations. Amuse me. We'll be right back.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is. Because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Busy me. So, anyway...
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. My friends keep commenting on my comment. Oh, there's another one. So many comments on my comment.
Oh, I can't wait to watch TV tonight. Playoffs!
Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Pew, pew. Wait, Mom, what? Huh?
What? Hold
What'd you say? Wait a second, what?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story, adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We are back. Yeah, it's always sexy about champagne. No, I don't know who made that rule up. Like, that's some crazy shit.
It's for protection purposes.
Yeah, but I mean,
there's enough male privilege in the world. Like, can we have some restrictions, please? There's no
but I mean,
sex
it's
in
the champagne room.
There's only champagne in the champagne room.
If you ain't trying to fuck, don't go in there.
If it was a sex and champagne room, it'd be the sex and champagne room. But no, it's the champagne room.
Look, if you ain't trying to get down, then don't go in there.
You right.
That's how I feel. I'm just saying.
You right.
I'm just saying. If you don't want to go down
in the champagne room,
then don't go in. Don't drink your champagne in the room.
Yes.
Stay your black ass at the bar.
Wherever I drink my champagne is the champagne room.
Right.
Right. That's where I'm at. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I'm going to, strip clubs and with men, and they're just like, I'm just bored as fuck, and because that's what happens when you're a cisgender heterosexual woman. You're bored as hell at the fucking strip club. Some stuff fascinating me. Like, I like looking at women, but I wouldn't know what to do with them if you gave me a 2-page manual. So I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, I'm like really complimenting. I'm like, that is so artistic. That is great. Like,
right.
I'm being super supportive and shit, and I'm like the first and the last person you would have taken to a strip club.
You are so funny.
I am the first and at the same time the last person you want to take to a strip club. Like some girls came out, they was like, "Yo, sis, we heard you was in the back, and now that we got to see you up close, they're like, yo, you got more titties than everybody up in here." I was like, "My bad." She was they're like, "Sis, you taking money away."
You.
I was like, "I am so sorry."
Yeah, like I just, I came to enjoy the form.
Like it came with the body. Like it was in a projected plan at some point that these would sprout. So I have no idea what I can do to
well, at least you have that, because I was born with a tiny little frame and everything that came with the tiny to match it.
Yeah,
right. And
that's fine.
And at one point, like I was bigger and I was like feeling it, and that didn't.
You like check 8 thighs, 8 thighs, 8 thighs.
Right,
like,
but then that just
gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
Gone. They're like, it's limited time only, limited edition.
That's just what it is.
No, but you can't like being inspired. Like you can't do it while you're broke.
Right, it's hard because like the stresses of life.
You
like
can't
really,
relax and
you can't write when you're broke. You can't write when you're ill.
Mm-hmm.
You can't write when someone you love is ill, like your kid or your parent or your sibling, something like there's certain times in your life where either your only choice is to write or you can't write at all.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no other, and I hadn't reached the space where it wasn't where it was my only choice.
Right.
I had other decisions that I had to make.
Right, and those things take precedent.
Exactly.
You know, like my child takes precedent over everything.
You know, I got a whole teenager and shit. Like, so it's
right.
like, dealing with that. And
you got a teenager. I got a preteen. Like, that shit is crazy.
Yeah, and watching him transform and seeing some stuff that he's engaging in, trying to direct him and guide him and be his counsel.
Right.
While at the same time trying to maintain maturity. Co-parent while maintaining this maturity and maintaining this focus. But at the same time, with doing that, you got to walk your talk too. So, I can't tell my son, you need to have this organized, you need to have this in order, and this is
and
a
then
hot
you're
mess.
not right.
And so it's, that took the precedence of everything. Like when he was younger and I was touring with Sweet Spot, like, he was none the wiser. Like now, like I get constant little subtle reminders. Like my son has Googled me.
Right.
And he's like, "What's this? And how are you this person? Like you were a writer for the month of somebody's website, and I want to read your chapbook." I'm like, "No,
no,
no."
You know what's crazy?
Oh no.
So speaking of writing, I got really sick while I was delivering, and I wrote him a book from me to him. And it's funny, like sometimes you have nothing left but to write. That was one of those moments because I really thought I was going to, I thought we weren't going to have no Dr. Wren anymore. I thought she was going to be gone. And it was kind of like to write this book, to share my feelings with my infant. Because you got to, like, this is my newborn.
Baby.
He's
all googly and can't even see straight and shit.
Right, and he ain't no bigger than my damn phone.
Exactly.
And I'm sitting and looking at this creature that I had created.
Yeah,
like in my own.
Wow.
Right.
Like I cooked this up all by myself. Nobody helped. Like you just.
Right. And I really did. And I will take ownership for that shit. Like, your father had a few minutes of fun.
Yeah.
I did the hard work.
Rest of the way,
I did the heavy lifting. Like I did. But I'm looking at him and I'm like, he needs to know. And he needs to know from mom. And at the same time, it's funny because I wrote this whole book to him, right? That should carry him up to about, if he read it today, it would get him up to about 15 really confidently without me having to say anything. Like it gave him everything I would try to instill in him up to about age 15. But then I'm fine, I'm healthy, I'm good, you know. So now I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not touring anymore, not really touring anymore. I'm trying to stay.
I am not touring anymore.
I'm trying to
stay.
Like
saying like never in life, but right now
I'm not
cool
touring. And it's really, and it's funny because not touring has taken its toll on me as well. And it's crazy because you would think touring would take more of its toll, but not touring has been kind of heavy on me. I haven't done a conclave. And, like I've only done one this year, which is rare because I usually do one at least once a quarter. Every couple months I do a conclave. Everybody get together. We'll have a salacious ass conversation.
Yes.
We'll talk about everything.
Yes.
No holds bar. You will leave out of there enlightened. The only thing I got really lined up, and even to that going in that direction is the Sex 101, that I got later on in the fall. But you know what? I was actually thinking I should make that a panel discussion.
I went in on that. Anyway.
We might do that.
I went in on that.
Well, we might do that for real. But you know what I mean? I'm not touring. That's weird. I'm used to standing up in front of 600 people, 800 people in an audience. Even with Conclave is just that. Yeah. It's a select group of people, like-minded individuals. Like, we keep it small, keep it tight. There's never more than 40 people in that room because you can't keep it. Yeah. What we're discussing needs to stay. I mean, it's sacred.
Because there's a lot of transparency in the room, so it needs to be
closed quarters.
It needs to be very tight.
But not being on stage, sometimes I miss the limelight.
I will admit that, I'm friends with a lot of writers that I met while touring, while being on the road. Like Jamal St. John is somebody who I seek counsel with often. Love that man. Love that man. Love his wife. Love everything about the two of them. I'm going to bum rush them in New Jersey and just show up on their front step and just be like, I'll cook for
I
me.
went in on that.
Exactly. And Jamal probably whooped my tail afterwards. Be like, I'm not sharing my wife. I'm like, yes, you are.
And why not?
Yes, you are.
And why not?
You totally are. Your wife's awesome. I don't understand. You knew you had to share. Just stop it.
You knew you had to share.
You knew you had to do
before
it.
she ever
you guys have been together for almost 20 years. You've had her enough. Damn it.
And I agree.
But, he would tell me, he was like, it's no other drug quite like it. There's no other drug quite like it. And I will admit, it's interesting, but it's I guess I never had an addictive quality per se. So it's just as interesting as it is to be in it, it's just as interesting to not be in it.
Right.
So I guess I'm one of the weirdos that can hang with it. It's just as interesting to not be in it as it is to be in it. Because if there's any twinge of desire that I feel to want to engage in it again, is not when I should follow it.
Right. And that's not where I'm at.
That's when things get reckless.
Because that's when things get reckless. It's kind of I want to take a very cerebral approach to our industry and to our delivery of information and art and love. I want to take because, I felt my way through. I'm a Scorpio. I feel my way through everything. However, you're a Taurus.
Yes.
So you don't have to feel your way all the way through some shit.
Oh, it's very calculated.
It's very calculated.
I will say, because we're polar opposites, I understand you guys a lot. I don't want to, but I do. I fight you guys tooth and nail. I fight you guys tooth and nail because you want to consume lives. But it's a calculated spontaneity that we operate in. It's fine for me to throw caution to the wind because I've overanalyzed and I got 65 backup plans.
Right, because
now we can go ahead and just take the plunge because we already got this figured out. All I got to do is pull it out from the, Rolodex. And we can, deal with whatever happens because I have stuff already set up. I can do that. But when it comes to performing and writing and things like that, it's more so I remember another person who I see, that gave me nuggets that they probably didn't realize. 13 in Nazareth. He told me, he was like, they say art imitates life for a reason. He's like, the reason why you aren't making any art is because you're not living. He was like, so go live.
Right, and that's when,
and it's funny because it doesn't matter how long it fucking takes. He told me, he was like, no matter how long it takes.
No, because you're right. Because when my radio show came out of the South, and I brought it up here, right, and they said, what do you want to do with it, and everything, and I'm thinking internet radio, because then I can say what the fuck I want to say, and, cheers to that, because you can't do that.
You can't drink while you.
Right, you're on, well, you could, because can't nobody see you, but you can't say certain things, right, so.
It's you can just go and do,
And so I came up here and I said, but the first tagline, it was funny because it just, the hashtag that came with my first post. I will never forget my first post about Salacious life. I talked about the 5 F's. So I had just had a conclave.
Yeah.
And we talked about the 5 F's of a relationship. And we thought, us as a station thought it would be good to reiterate some of that information. So I remember the first tagline because I said to my engineer, it was this guy named Matt, Mastermind actually, artist Mastermind, Mastermind was my engineer that night. Yeah. And I said to him, I said, you gotta live unapologetically. And that shit has stuck.
Yeah, that's all
it became my love life, be brave, live unapologetically is my personal mantra. Yes, I share it with the world.
Yes.
But I literally go by that, try to live like that, like every single day. It's funny because, you know, I had a conversation earlier where I was saying to someone, I said, sometimes I'm sure. Like, I'm sure. I can't tell you why I'm sure.
But I am.
But I'm sure. And it's funny because after that conversation, I left to come down here, and I thought to myself, why am I sure? And I said, I know why I'm sure.
Because you don't live life unapologetic.
Because I don't do things that I have to apologize for later.
And it's
or I try not to.
Like, for me, it's like living life unapologetically. It's more so about the fact of I will own it.
Just own what
I will own it. And so,
and that is living life unapologetically.
So when I apologize, it's not, you know, it's not like hypocritical to living life unapologetically. It's more so I'm not going to be apologizing for something that I need not. So if I'm going to be in that space of being unapologetic, it's because that's where I stand. And that's where I will always stand.
Right.
But if I know I'm in error,
and I really
it's not going to be a problem for me to to
take
myself.
ownership. Like I said, you know what? I fucked up. Like
I know, even still, like
that
like
to me,
owning
that's
up
living
is better than an apology.
Right. Me owning up to my shortcomings.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I had a post the other day, and I was saying something about, are humans more destructive or creative? I think you might have seen a post. I said, and one of the things, we went all the way down, they said, in human nature, I wish I could pull it up real quick, but Scott, no, I'm sorry, hold on. I got to pull it up, because because I got to read exactly, because this was like, it was real. Yeah. Because when I read what he said, because my response to that was so real. Hold on. Bear with me, guys.
Yes. Hold on.
Like,
hold on.
I'm coming. I'm
Take
coming.
a drink break. Go get whatever we're drinking.
You're not going to make it. Because
I'm walking out of the studio.
Yeah,
you guys understand this. I'm walking out of the
you
studio.
talking. All right, not this.
It's going to be a slow bop, but I'm walking out of the studio.
You're funny. What was it? Oh, are humans better at creation than destruction?
Okay.
And on this post, Scott Painter, you know,
Scotty.
Scott,
Yes.
you gotta love Scotty, right? All right. He said, what did he say? Hold on, I gotta get the right setup.
line in there.
Right. So he said, destroying things is cheaper, faster, and less reflective for many people in life. He said, no matter what their vocation is, simply dashing something away is much more appealing to some than the alternative. Which is to say, when you shift through the wreckage, the ashes, the flotsam and jetsam of our countless shipwrecks and crashes in life, you have to actually assess yourself and take stock of where you fell short. The shortcut around doing that is to simply destroy. Woo. And I love him. Not only is he a fellow Eagles fan like me, he's a amazing artist and a great person. Like you can't even, get away. I adore him. Don't you love him?
Yes.
And my answer was like so simple, because it's like, that's why I don't understand. I spend so much of my life in reflection, taking ownership for my triumphs as well as my shortcomings.
Exactly. You have to hold on to all of those things.
Am I here or there? Hi, Monty. Monty, before you go.
I just need you to get caught up.
Okay. Monty. Got it. So, like it really was, but it's because I spend so much of my life in reflection, because I'm hitting a point in my life where it's like growth is the only option.
Man, listen.
But I do think I need to get back to writing, so I've got to find the muse.
Yeah, finding the muse is, I think it's probably been a hold up on the quote unquote writer's block. Two things. One, I'm afraid that what is up here what up here is way more dope than what could ever transpire on the page. So like in my mind, I'm thinking like what is in my mind will never be as dope as what winds up on the paper. Right. Getting over that one. Two, I'm going to have to be very honest at where I am in life. While I, do this creation period. Like, what am I going to, this means that I have to literally from the last project to up to now. What have I learned?
Right.
What has changed my life? What I want to share and portray and how I want it to be, how I wish for it to be presented. Because I can't control how it's viewed. I can only control how it gets presented, because that's the intent. like touring, like I said, like everything that has happened as far as whatever I've been able to do artistically, whatever I've been able to do creatively, there was a very selfless intent. That's why it was able to be what it was. That's why I wound up doing Sweet Spot. Like, I didn't do Sweet Spot because that was a goal. It wasn't a goal.
Like, Sweet Spot is never
a goal.
A goal.
I'm not saying like it was a bad thing.
No, it
like,
wasn't. But, you know, I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. Nobody ever thinks they're going to be standing on stage doing erotic whatever,
At
you
all.
know,
Like, you know.
ever in your life.
And then getting paid for it. You're like, what? Like, you know, it's a shocker. Like, I literally, like, this is how I wound up getting in the Sweet Spot. Like, no lie. You know, Shelly Says So is a good friend of mine. We're childhood friends, actually. And, like, we've been friends since we were kids. And, you know, she was doing her thing poetry-wise. We lost touch, and during the time we lost touch, she didn't know that I was writing. And I didn't know that she, you know, was doing poetry or whatnot. But when she decided to go as far as making a debut into the Baltimore scene, creatively speaking, with her writing, as a friend, I wanted to be supportive.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I really was like, you know, Shelly, bestie, yay. And, you know, that's where I was with things, with her. And so she really wanted to have an opportunity to flex herself as much as humanly possible, flex her writing skills, her performance skills, all of those things. And Sweet Spot was in her line of sight. And she did great with it. Right. And I was there to support her with it. And by accident, really, I was seeing somebody in Virginia. And I've seen Ainsley feature before.
Right.
And he was fantastic.
Yeah, he's great.
And he commanded attention. Like, he was at Warm Wednesdays, and he featured at Warm Wednesdays.
Yeah, Warm Wednesdays.
Yes, the playground.
The playground.
The playground. And I realized to pay attention to him because I was standing in the DJ booth, and the DJ was telling me, he was like, you know, I hate poets, they make me sick. But he was like, but I will sit still and watch Ainsley.
Absolutely.
And
I get
they
that.
gave pause. So,
and I mean, because it does.
Yeah.
And
he's like,
I could never
Ainsley.
take away Ainsley's talent ever. Like, I have so much respect for him that, you know, it's hard to find fault.
It's hard to find fault.
It's hard to find fault, like, honestly speaking.
And so I went to, he was featuring in Virginia, and I went down to Virginia, and I had this cute little poem about a dude I used to mess around with, and it was kind of a little suggestive. And I thought it would be cool for me to read the poem, and Ainsley would be like, oh, that's so cute, that listening to, you know, cute poem.
Yeah, because that's how he is.
Yeah, like, that's cute. I thought he would find it funny.
But he didn't.
He didn't find it funny.
He found that thought. We're going to finish this conversation about Ainsley. Then we're going to send this, after we do this live, we're going to send this radio show straight to Ainsley, straight to Sweet Spot.
Yes,
we'll be right back. This week's Hump Day Discourse.
Hump Day.
Amuse me.
Yes. It was like...
You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bathwater to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We're back. Hey, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. We're all over the place. Look us up on any podcast service, iTunes, Google, Spotify. There's many more. Search for us, BeExposedRadio.com. Catch us. We're on everybody's schedule, especially Hump Day Discourse. No.
Now I'm nervous now because like you just listed all of the social media outlets, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, we're sharing. We're sharing today because no, for real, Hump Day Discourse is just that, and people need to understand that. Like, it's Wednesday. We are halfway through. It's almost over, but I'm always looking at the glass half full. It's just begun. Exactly. Like my weekend. It has just begun.
My friend.
I mean, we got Thursday night, ladies night, right? Then we got Friday, which is always the chill night. Then Saturday's turn up. Then Sunday is always about, for me, it's always about glory and food and light and sunshine. So it's like farmer's market and, you know, maybe even swing through church and, you know what I mean? Even give God some glory. You know, like it really is.
Friday I got a wedding to go to. I'm going to be in Virginia Beach for the weekend for a wedding. I like weddings. I just hate rehearsal dinners and receptions.
You like weddings?
I like the wedding. I like the wedding. I just hate the before and the after. Because there's always one mofo. It's just like, so how long have you been divorced? And
like forever. I've been divorced forever. Like, I'm happy you're getting married, but I've been divorced for like ever.
Bride and groom, they're cool. It's the other
people. It's other people. So, real quick, disclaimer, PSA, right? PSA.
Sure.
Do not ask a divorced person how long they've been divorced. Do you understand? If they're seeing someone, if they have any prospects, because let me say this.
Let's not say we did.
Right. Let me just throw this out there real quick.
Please.
No matter how much we hated our spouse, we still have a failed marriage in our pocket. That is probably one of the most painful, deflating things you can possibly feel in your entire life. We don't want to be reminded of it.
Yeah, and the whole thing is, even if you're over it.
Just throwing that out there.
Even if you're over
Even if you're over it.
Even if you're over it, and even if you're good, and even if there's so much that you've grown, even still, everyone else doesn't know how to process it. And so everyone is treating you like you're damaged goods. You're not in the mood.
Right.
Also, another PSA. Do not play matchmaker.
No.
At a wedding.
You not.
Don't do it. Especially not with a divorced being. Don't do it. Please don't. Let's just not say we did. Because I realize I avoid certain social situations. I become like a super huge introvert. Or at least I've owned up to like introversion. I don't do holidays. And now I've learned don't do barbecues because, you know, that's also a place where matchmakers like to take liberty. And I know when it happens. Like, I get led to false insecurity. I'm lured by food. I'm very tourist, food driven. I get lured by food, and then I come in. I'm sitting down, and I'm getting nestled in. Got a good, get a good dent in my plate, and then I hear Najah, and you know it's how it's said. You already know. Najah.
Absolutely. And you're like, oh.
I got somebody I want you to meet. And you're
like I'm good. Hi.
And then now you and this person.
And that person is not.
And
like,
we have nothing in common. It makes you wonder, like, do your friends really care about you? Do they really fucking know you?
No,
Because
they don't.
sit there and
They don't.
They just because y'all both single that, you know, you guys would automatically hit it off. Like, that's all you need to make a relationship work. Like, you know, and it's just like, and the whole thing is, it's not
What's
like
wrong with asking about divorce?
There's nothing wrong with asking about divorce.
To let it go. You're free. Monty's funny. So Monty says, what's wrong with asking about divorce? Nothing is necessarily wrong. If you're my good friend, we're, you know, maybe casually having a drink, and you just say, you know, how long has it been? Like, you know, you might want to get back out there. Where's your mind
at? How you feeling about it?
Do you want to move, you know?
Yeah, but don't take it upon yourself.
You want to go out.
Yeah, don't take it upon yourself.
Guess who just logged in? We just finished talking about it. Scott Painter.
Hey, Scotty!
Scotty! We were just talking about you. You're going to have to, after the show is over, you're going to have to rewind
and look at
so you can hear the whole segment about you.
Like, but don't ask me, like, or rather don't take liberty to be matchmaker. Or if you are going to do that, like, actually review the ins and outs of whatever I'm going through in the moment before you decide to take initiative.
Absolutely.
That's important. Because, like, sometimes, like, I've been thrown in the same space with other single men that my friends know. And I'm like, y'all don't give a shit about me.
Like, you really
y'all don't
care.
know anything that I like or don't like. Like, why did you do this to this other person? Like, it's not even about why you do this to me, because I know I'm a fucking handful. So, like, why you put me in the presence of this man? This man about to get eaten alive messing around with me because I'm moody, because you messed around and poked the bear. Why you do this to him?
Right.
Like, it's not fair. Like, and this man probably does want to get married at some point, but I'm sitting up here about to ruin, like, be that one bad apple that's about to spoil the whole damn barrel, and, you know, doing all this stuff. So it's not, it's one of the things that actually bothers me the most about it is that everyone feels like a woman's definition is, you know, or existence is only based upon the relevancy they have with another being.
But I think, you know,
it bothers me.
It bothers me too, but things have changed.
They ain't changing enough.
No, listen. Like, not necessarily, I don't really agree with the fact that things have changed. But things have changed. Generationally, things have changed. People aren't who they used to be.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, it's one thing if it's like, you know, if you're concerned about
but I don't know that everybody, like, my circle's, like, my circle, like, people I spend time with, is super small.
Yeah, and they know better. But sometimes
and they know.
This only happens to me when I wind up on, like, 5th and 6th degree. When I'm in 5th and 6th degree social situations. Right. When I get hit upside the head with shit like this.
Yeah.
So, and that's right now I'm probably going to be in like a 5th or 6th tier degree situation. So I know it's coming.
Right.
And so, and I'm going by myself. I opted out of my +1. I did all that shit. I was trying to avoid it by having someone, but I realized I was forcing something also that was like,
and you can't do
inauthentic.
that either.
And I was like, I'm about to drag somebody into dealing with me for a weekend that may not want to, because I can't face the firing brigade. So, you know, I have to, like, let me sit in my singlehood like I claim to.
Right.
And just go head on, go by myself. Like, even my friends were like, you just brought one of us. I'm like, no, I gotta sit in it. And so I have to deal with it. So anyway, back to Ainsley and how I wound up on Sweet Spot.
Right. So because we got way off, and then even big further because we got to get back to the Muse.
Yes.
No, I have a great level of respect.
Yes.
For Ainsley.
I love that.
I still have his book on my shelf.
Yes, bang, bang,
Bang,
bang.
bang, bang. I still have it on my shelf. It's still a go-to for me.
Yes, I gave him a review on it, like an unsolicited review at that. Like, I emailed him and gave him a review of what I thought Bang 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 was.
Me too.
It was very unsolicited. I feel like that was a dick move for doing that.
Well, sometimes look, we love you, Ainsley, but look, as an artist, you read something.
Ask for that shit.
But
I just bought the book.
Let's just say if I wrote something that you read, right, like something specific, one of my vignettes or what have you, and you felt a certain way about it, whatever it made you feel, that's my art. Your feelings are valid because you felt them after you were exposed to my work. I want to know how you felt.
Yeah.
Good, bad, ugly, happy, sad, crying, whatever. Exactly. Making you calm uncontrollably, which is like probably
reevaluate your whole sex life.
Reevaluate your entire sex life, which, shit, you get that enough on my radio show, right?
Exactly.
Make you reevaluate your entire sex life. I want to know about it, though, because if that's what my contribution is, I want to continue.
I've done my, you're doing your job.
I feel like I'm doing my job.
Right path. And like meeting Ainsley, like he didn't think that my poem was funny. He actually was very interested. So like he asked me if I was coming to Sweet Spot Baltimore. I did. I was there to support Shelly Says So.
Right.
And I met Joker. I met the rest of the crew. I met Selah. I met everybody. And I already knew Walt, of course. And so there was
shout out to Walt. Warm Wednesdays.
Hey! So it was wonderful. And so Ainsley comes to me and he's like, did you like the show? And I was like, of course, it was freaking awesome.
It was
like
good.
I've been to the show before.
Right.
But I was like,
I took someone on a first date there.
Nice. That's a nice
slick,
icebreaker.
Right?
That's brave.
Is that not
bold? It's bold, sis. It's bold.
I took someone on a first date. First date. We had never gone out before. I took him on a first date.
That's the icebreaker for real.
To Sweet Spot. Well, it's a I mean, the idea of it all is a big part of my life.
Yeah.
Like,
so, like, if you can't handle this right now, then you might as well. What's the point of a second date? What's the point of a third date? Like, that's the real thing. So he asked me, he was like, Najah, do you like this show? And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's amazing. He was like, I want you to come and perform in DC. I was like, beg your pardon?
Right.
But mind you, I was like, look, we both been drinking now. Like,
are you sure?
Don't get hasty
like,
here.
Like, let's just get it right.
Let's not get all hasty here. He's like, no, I want you to come and do that show. And I'm like, okay. And like, I didn't think he was, like, I thought he was joking. And then Sabrina inboxed me and was like, yeah, can we get your contact information and blah, 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 blah. And they were like, oh, and you know, and then Ainsley hit me up like a file like 2 days later. He was like, Shelly's coming to the Philly show. Can you just come and do an audition in Philly? I was like, audition? What? And I literally, and I just wound up, and that's the whole thing, like my whole start as far as poetry, as far as all these things, like I was doing this in college and it wasn't a big deal. It was just something that I needed. It was cathartic. It was something that I needed as far as releasing and understanding who I was. But I did not desire, you know, because after I left college, I got married, had a kid, got divorced, got all stuff. I wanted to go just live a regular life and deal with, you know, life post-divorce. I did not plan on being in artistry in any way that I have been since 2011, 2012. I really just was supporting friends. Like, I wound up co-hosting Poets for Dinner for like 3 damn years just to support my friend.
Right.
Just, you know, I wound up like, you know, yeah, I could sing and yeah, I could write, but, you know, it was nice to just, you know, I just thought, you know, I was filler. I didn't want, you know, necessarily, it wasn't that I didn't want, I didn't intend for any of this. So it was just very, you know, for me to go back and do it again, like, I pulled back because I had, you know, stuff that took priority. Mm-hmm. For me to do it again, I needed to be just as inauthentic, or rather, I needed to be as authentic as far as the intent, to be just as selfless as it was when I initially started.
Right.
Only this time I know so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And I really now have to, you know, lay some boundaries and exercise self-care.
Because what people don't realize, like, what people don't realize is how much of ourselves we put out. You know what I mean? Like, to practice within the realm of erotica.
And the whole thing is I wasn't even putting that much of myself out there.
No, but
and it was just about the preconceived notion in regards to it. And like, I can handle that. And it's like, I can handle that.
Yeah.
Like, to a certain extent, like, I could handle it. But, you know, and that's the whole thing is like, there's, like, it's still definitely, like, everything that I was while I was doing Sweet Spot, it was definitely this, an awakening and a discovery. I'm sure Ainsley and Israel enjoyed my awakening in discovery.
I'm sure
while I was on tour. I'm sure they enjoyed watching it all unfold.
Absolutely.
As much as, like, I'm sure they enjoyed it immensely. But, you know, that is me. I'm not going to say that it's not me. I know that it's definitely a facet that needed attention. And it was a perfect time to pay attention to it.
You have to pay attention.
It was a perfect time to pay attention to it.
Like, people, I don't think people realize that, and I hate to sound so cliche.
Yeah, hey.
But there's levels to this shit.
There's levels
to this shit. Like, you know, I think about, like, how much physical energy I expounded doing BDSM.
Yeah.
Constantly, right?
And there's, you know, levels of restraint.
And then there's levels of restraint,
and
because when you get yourself in a mode, you know, when I wear the hat, I can't say when I play the role, when I wear the hat of mistress, it's a whole different beast. Like, I found myself, even over this summer, I was like, you know, I ain't got it in me.
Exactly. I reached the point where it's like I didn't have it.
Every submissive enslaved that I've had since October has been dismissed or reassigned. Yeah. Because I just don't have it in me. I can't write.
It's the reason why I haven't been touring. It's the reason why I haven't been writing. It's like, I just don't have it in me.
You can't write.
I don't have it in me.
So what do we do?
It's not about giving up, because everyone thinks that when you reach the space when you ain't got it in you, means to give it up altogether.
No. You have to reevaluate how you do stuff, because it's not about working hard. It's about as much as it's about working smart. Indeed. Taking the intellectual approach, you know, to it. See, when we first started in the game, and we're just going to call it the game, we were all over the place. We were great. We were doing our thing.
Everything in excess.
Right, everything in excess. We would do a show. The show would end at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we'd go get drunk. afterwards, like we weren't drinking the entire show,
and do even more,
shit
afterwards. Like Salacious Life, I'm like, sis, you don't know the half.
You don't know.
And actually, even then, we're like in those moments of pure debauchery, there was restraint.
Right.
There was restraint, but it's like, you know what, we could have exercised a little bit more. And so, like, now, like, I can be in situations where, you know, I'm at certain meetups and other erotic-related things, and I'm just like, yeah, that's enough. Like, you know, like, it's going left, and I ain't got time for this. So, like, or at least not with y'all. Or, like, just, you know, just at least not, you know, with the company that I'm keeping. Or, you know, I can only handle, like, this is my cap.
Right.
You know, like, I can only handle this with a certain number of people. Like, I'm focused on quality and quantity. I can only handle this many people for quantity. And these people specifically for quality.
And you keep it really.
And if that ain't it, that ain't it. Good night,
y'all. And it's crazy because, like, you know, where our lives overlap.
Yes.
So many of the people, other than like you and a very chosen few, like we've had the quality.
Yes.
And then so many people who you would think I would think of as quality have become quantity. They are not part of my active life anymore.
Mm-hmm. It happens, and it's a natural evolution of things. Like, some things I don't question. You know, it's like, you know, that's your decision, that's your choice. All I can do is, you know, respect, you know, preferably accept, but respect if nothing else, you know, accept at best, respect at least. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you just have to, you know, understand that. But just as far as like creating, or rather not creating, I just know, you know, when I am ready, and never do it a minute before. Never do it because you're feeling insecure about wherever you are in your career.
And don't ever do it because you feel forced to do it. Like, so I took a break from my show.
Yeah.
Because I had to heal from, like, some physical things that were going on in my life. Like, I had to heal from that shit. So I was like, you know what? I need to take a break. It's not that I don't love Salacious Life, because y'all know I do. Mm-hmm. And it's not that, like, this doesn't move me to do.
It's not that it's not important.
It's not that it's not important.
It makes you.
It is a part of who I am. Like, Dr. Wren isn't a character, like, in so many respects, as much as she's a part of who I am as a whole.
Exactly.
You know, so
it's a complementary part. Like, you know, like, without it, something's going to be off.
Something's going to be off. And, like, Salacious Life was missing. So then I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, all right, I need to find my inspiration. Because I couldn't just jump all back into the lifestyle, because you'll drown.
Yes,
like, you know how it is. You'll drown. You know.
So you're trying to belly flop into it, girl.
You can't belly flop. You can't cannonball. You have to test the water. Yeah, like, is this too cold? Like, let me just put my foot in.
Wait. Somebody else is acting horse playing around the pool. Wait,
hold up. Wait. Let me let them get finished, and then I'll try again.
Exactly.
Like, it really is that. So then I was like, you know what? First and foremost, because this is one of my favorite things to do. Let's bring back the show. And not only let's bring back the show in the fall, in the autumn, when it's my favorite time of year, when I feel the most inspired, when the seasons have amused me. You know,
I think it's really even better. I'll do you one better.
Mm-hmm.
To create with the anticipation of it not even being received at all, good, bad, or otherwise, for it not to be received.
Because I was
doing what I was doing,
regardless. Not with thinking that somebody was necessarily going to love it or like it. Like,
I was just doing it.
You have to create. Like, as an artist, you have to create. As a writer, you have to create some form, shape, whatever.
And I think it was reaching a point, like, around the time that I hit, you know, when I hit 2013, 2014, even 2015, I was just, some stuff I was doing was just keeping my name out in the streets. That stuff that I had been working on in like 2013 was now getting released by other people, stuff that I worked with other people in 2014 and 2015. And it kept me relevant without me really having to do any work after that. But I realized that if it wasn't, you know, authentic, if it wasn't, you know, it felt like work. Mm-hmm. When it started to feel like work, I was like, let me leave this alone.
For a second. Yeah, let me leave this alone for a second. Because you need to re-examine.
Some of my most transparent stuff, some of my best stuff that gets received in, you know, in when I'm doing features or when I'm touring or whatever, the most received stuff was not when I was trying to, you know, I wasn't doing it for stage. I wasn't doing it for, like, this.
Right, you were just doing.
I was just doing.
You were just doing
and so, like, you know, and honestly, that's when I realized I could go on tour while on writer's block, because what I had created already was so genuine that it became timeless.
Absolutely.
And so I could sit up here with a whole chapbook of all the stuff that I've culminated over a course of many years and spout that on a stage and sell product and do these things, you know, with old ass shit and not have to really worry about it because it's timeless. Because it came from an honest, you know, a very, very honest, a very genuine place when I wrote it in that emotional state. And I'm able to bring that forth and bring that, you know, to the forefront, even though I'm so far removed. But it still makes
from what it was.
From what it was in the moment.
But does that make it any less valuable?
It doesn't.
You know, and that's like where, that's a conversation I've had to have with myself, is that just because this is a moment piece versus a piece that I've worked on for years doesn't make my moment piece any less valuable. Do you know what I mean?
And the whole thing is like, and if I can't do it with that being, if that's not the engine that's driving my art, then it ain't gonna get made. It's not gonna get done. I will still research. I still will look at things that, you know, that strike a red flag in my brain or turn me on in some aspect. I'll still look at certain things. I'll still look at how I emotionally am affected or not affected by certain things. And I'll take notes and I'll put it to the side and be like, I'll delve into it further.
Right.
And then when it's time, when it's time,
when I don't know, when the stars are aligned, when the breeze hits me
when
right,
the moon is in
like
the
when
seventh house,
the moon is in, whatever it is, like like all of a sudden, that's
gonna happen.
You know, it's funny. We were talking about the Muse, right?
Yeah.
We got a couple minutes for a break. We were talking about the Muse, or finding your Muse, or losing your Muse. You know, and I found that in the past, it was never one person or one thing that was the muse to my work or to my life or to my art. Like, I always would hyper focus on things that I liked about several different things and several different people. Like, you know, I might say, oh, well, Najah is funny, and this person is witty, and this person is this. And I would hyper focus on the things that were turn-ons for me about whoever or whatever it was, and then that would become the inspiration for my pieces. It's weird now because now, as I'm, you know, on the road, I've found that I have to look within to be my own muse. How does one become? By the way, for people who don't know what a muse is, a muse is a person or being that is inspirational to you creating something else.
Yeah, creatively
inspirational.
To any level of innovation that you are deciding to undertake,
there
is a driving force, and usually it's in the form of a person or a thing, or
like
a place.
So, you know, like you hear about all kinds of artists in the world, and you know, musicians and singers.
They want to work. They have to work in a particular city
and
because
they,
it inspires them.
because they
or they
sing
have
about,
to be with a particular person because it inspires them.
them.
You know, they have to do so
but
forth and so on.
That inspiration.
Excuse me. I just walked in here.
Changes.
Hold on one second. Hello. Can you hear me?
I think I was more aware of
Salacious.
when I've been taking this like
excuse me.
that I did. Like, that's
I'm live on the radio. Can you let me speak?
Yeah, go ahead. Hold on a second.
A muse is a person or personified force who is the source of inspiration for a creative artist.
There you go. He just gave us the Webster Dictionary for Muse. Thank you so much, Monty, our fearless leader.
Blessings to Merriam-Webster.
Absolutely.
No, but I found that, like, the chapbook that I created, The Men Who Kept Me Busy, it literally was, it's testament to how your muse can be several things. Like, the chapbook, you think, like, the title, The Men Who Kept Me Busy. You think, like, oh, she's about to tell her business. Like,
but that's not necessarily it.
Yeah, it's everything that people think it is, and then it's nothing.
And nothing that people think it is.
And so, like, there's all of these, you know, and I'm literally talking about the muses throughout, you know, in the quote-unquote, if they come in male form, this is how it goes. And so, you know, so you're not just talking, I'm not talking about every dude I ever fucked. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about God. I'm talking about my father. I'm talking about my stepfather. I'm talking about my son. I'm talking about, you know, some stuff like isn't even relatable to me. Some of it's just like I realized had a boy meets girl dynamic and I just threw it in there.
Right.
Some of it is like what I want to have, you know, in my future as far as within that, you know, romantic dynamic.
Absolutely.
This is what, you know, even though there's no actual physical male presence there for me, this is what my desire or whatever fantasy or goal I have is
because
keeping me busy.
Because you have to keep, I mean, in some shape, way, or form, we have to keep a goal, right? Yes. Because if we don't keep a goal, we ain't going no we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going no fucking where. Like, you know, like
we're drinking whiskey. You know, we
are.
Drop some F-bombs.
You know what? Matter of fact, we're gonna take a break.
Yep.
Because we need to take a break.
There you go.
But don't forget, this is BeExposedRadio.com. This is the home of the Cheryl Underwood Radio Show, 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, and this. Right here, it's Salacious Life. This is Hump Day Discourse. We will be right back.
It's time for a flashback.
Now, I'm not going to say all Aries don't know.
It's just the one you had. That was just
particular one, right? You know. Yeah. But it's always something that you can
go ahead, listen. Can you recollect any signs that you might like?
October 15th or 16th. What is that?
And Libras.
See, I've had some good Libras and I had one really bad Libra, but he was white, so he f***ed his back anyway. So I don't.
Wait, hold on, wait a minute. Demonstrate. You got to demonstrate the back.
No. Ain't no way.
Not the day. How they bust? But show how they bust.
And then want to cry afterwards. I mean, what the f is the point of the tears? I mean, I can see you shaking, and you know, shake it off real quick. But you crying? F out of here.
What was he crying for?
Cause baby, this pussy make that. You in? I got that good nasty bitch. The shame.
Oh shit.
McLean's Couch every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Only on BeExposedRadio.com.
We're rewarding you for something you already do, listening to us. It's Radio Loyalty, and it's an easy way for you to get free stuff. All you do is sign up. Go ahead and click the banner now. You'll earn points as you listen. Points you can trade in for great products and services in the Radio Loyalty store. You can earn even more points when you share your favorite station with friends on Facebook and Twitter. Radio Loyalty. It's free to sign up, so click the banner to join now.
You are now listening to Just a Bit Outside, a sports radio show at BeExposedRadio.com. Come join us every Monday night from 8 to 10 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, or BeExposedRadio.com.
So we had a lot of things going on.
Mother's Day, Major League Baseball, pink bats, pink outfits.
Yeah. They certainly did the mothers good. They don't show them justice. Like Jimmy said, the pink bats, cleats, all types of pink highlights in the major leagues. The Orioles were swept by the Kansas City Royals.
Wah, wah.
The Kansas City Royals. Thank you, Eric. Kansas City Royals is they're like one of the worst teams in the major leagues
Baseball
right now. Yeah, so that was a little tough.
Yeah, so the Orioles no longer have the top record. It belongs to the Washington Nationals now.
Yeah, so that was tough. So hopefully they'll get back on track with the next series. Maryland, we got some local sports, collegiate to report. The Maryland lacrosse. Let's shout out the Maryland lacrosse team. They are in the NCAA tournament, and
Hey, this is Mark, just a bit outside on BeExposedRadio.com. Listen to us every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on Facebook and on YouTube.
Black by Demand Radio Show.
2 years ago. If you broke that bike and it don't work, that's on you, brother. I suggest you get that toolkit out back and then start working with it, right? Yeah. So my son's looking at me like, wow. And I broke down to him how we had got fixing flat tires down to a science. You know what I mean? Sticking the tube in the water. Right? Talk to me, brother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, critical thinking. And see, and we look at that now, and like kids, they not as on hands like we were back in the day.
That's because nowadays you don't have to put the bikes together anymore. They can come assembled.
Yeah, everything's coming assembled.
In the store, they ask you like if you want it already assembled.
Right.
Back then, you just got the box with 1 million pieces.
Right, and today I don't think they could work with that.
It's just like the thought process. Nowadays, you get a bike that's already put together. Now, when you were younger, you had to put this bike together.
You got to put it together.
That basically closes your mind into learning how to do something. Now.
Yes.
Now you're giving it something. So, okay, you take this, and this is what it is.
Right.
So now we have to run with this instead of teaching the child. This is how you put this together, so you see the result as this.
Right. Critical thinking. I like that. So look, not to cut you off, Ms. Denise, but let's go to our first commercial break, and then we're going to come back and finish talking about critical thinking.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Right.
I thought you really focused.
We are back with this week's Hump Day Discourse on Salacious Life Radio Show. We are in the midst of our Autumn Articulations series. This is Amuse Me. We are talking about the things that inspire us.
Yes.
And I know we've been talking about our work.
Yes.
We talk a lot about our work because we're writers, we're artists. So of course our work is going to be super, super important to us, high level, you know.
Even if there's nothing there, we're still discussing it and we're still heavy on our minds.
So this is my thing.
Yeah.
What happens when your muse in your relationship isn't your partner?
When your muse isn't your partner?
Isn't your partner. When your inspiration to please your partner isn't your partner.
Well, the inspiration to please your partner isn't your partner?
Yeah.
That's happened. I think that's pretty much like my life in a nutshell. It's
Why you say that?
I mean, because honestly, like, because of the fact that I've not been in, like, I haven't been living, like, at my optimum potential in my relationships, that's going to naturally happen where whatever drives me to be my best with someone who is really not my intended, it's going to be somebody else. And, you know, even still, if it is somebody who I really want to be with and want to stay with, I'm thinking about just how to not mess this up.
Right.
And so I'm thinking about the person who I've messed it up with.
Before, because there's always somebody, because you've learned.
So even through error, and I'm somebody who learns through error. Not my own error.
But everybody's error.
But somebody else's error,
too.
preferably.
Yeah.
So I'm learning through error. Either somebody else's error or my own error. I learn best through error. Certain stuff sticks in my craw and resonates better through someone else's error. So there are moments where somebody is motivating how I'm interacting with someone. Because of either through their error or because if you want greatness, you're going to try and emulate the great. If you want success, you're going to emulate those who've been successful. If you're trying to not be, on the losing end of things, you're not going to emulate habits of somebody who is a quote unquote loser.
Losing.
Yeah.
Right.
So taking these L's, or but if those L's got them to a greater place, then you know what, you'll handle your L's better. Or with the same grace, or grace and diplomacy is what they may have handled their L's. So it's really there are moments more often than not where I'm seeing someone or I'm involved with someone and I'm thinking about other things or other people, and other people may not necessarily be someone who I'm in a relationship with. I'm thinking about other people, like the other people that I have been prior to this moment,
like a person that I have been before that.
Exactly, the person who I've been prior to being with you. I'm looking at that like there's somebody who had to, like this past year, anyone who I've been dealing with or talking to or interacting with or conversing with a potential romantic intent, I have had to really take a hard look at myself and what has brought me to this point and why I'm here, why I'm still single here. And if I was, and if God sees fit for me to, to go the distance with this person,
right?
What am I going to be doing that is different from anything that I've ever done?
Absolutely.
Because to get something
timing
you've never
is
had.
Definitely everything.
Yeah. Because
speaking of time, you know what they prompted me.
Break.
Okay. We'll be right back.
Hey. It's true,
Check out this flashback from Sunset Soul Radio.
Sometimes, and let me say that, sometimes
people did things a certain way because that's all they knew. Right. So let me keep moving my point. If the only thing they knew 40 years ago was to handle like this, that's what they did. So we're holding accountable and a standard for something that some people, that's all they knew how to do. So they did it the way they had to do. Big Mama, when you did something, no, I'm not arguing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the church as a whole, we have issues that we need to work on. Everything got issues. But instead of criticizing the church, let's be impactful to show something different. It bothers me. Because guess what? Because watch this. This is what I do. I can't say it to anybody else. But my church is not judgmental. We love God. All of us are sitting and fall short of the glory of God. I believe it. One of our statements of my church is, there's nobody more important from the pulpit to the pew, to the back door. All of us are God's children. That's one of the things I teach my membership. I teach my church. Because we're all God's children. All of us are flawed. All of us got issues. But you got to also take into consideration, what is the black church to the black community? We only did what we knew. That was the only place we got information. That's the only place we got education. That was the only place that we were accepted to do and to be and be free and be leaders and to guide this. And they did a good job for what they had. So I think we spent too much time condemning what was our foundation instead of trying to be progressive and say, okay, well, listen.
How do you be progressive?
You show something better without criticizing what was there.
No.
Sunset Soul Radio, Thursdays from 7 to 9, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Smiling.
We are back. This is Contagious Choice. Yes. This is one of those moments that I love when my brain feels turned on and it's running a million miles an hour. She knows, like, the whole break we were sitting here and my mind was just going.
And I said one thing and she's been off ever since.
Because, like, it only takes one thing, because this is who I am. So I have some questions for you.
Hit it.
And let's see if we can hash a few of these things out.
We should have refilled if I'd have known, but okay.
I know, I didn't know.
It's fine. It's fine.
You know, we're going to just
I need another shot of whiskey like I need another hole in my head, but go ahead.
So, quick question. Not even a quick question, but let's talk. Can you make your lover a muse? Or does a muse have to be a natural encounter?
Muse has to be a natural encounter.
I would think so too. But it made me think about something, because if you're not inspired by the person you're currently sharing your life with, is that okay?
It's totally fine. Like, there are people who are in relationships with creatives, and they understand that person's art has absolutely nothing to do with them. And actually, their relationship is better for it.
I would think so. Because I've always kept my personal life, whatever level it may be on at the time. Yeah. My personal life has always been separate from my public life.
Exactly.
Now, granted, I reach upon, and the public still gets certain parts of me, like I reach upon experiences and things that I've actually gone through and things I actually do to convey, you know, a message, but I try to keep the person, if there is the person, out of the limelight, because they didn't choose that life. I chose this life. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, and that has to be made clear. Like I said, people, because you know there are creatives who have been creating way before they ever met their quote unquote muse.
So my question of this,
what do you
I have another question.
Yeah.
Then. Can sex be a muse itself, the act of, like, versus the person that you're sleeping with, but the act itself, the orgasm, the mind shift, the crazy feelings, like, can that be inspirational on its own, negating, I don't want to say it like that, but pushing that partner to the side and focusing on the physical, primal act itself, like you fucking this shit out of somebody.
Yeah.
Can that act be inspiring? Can it be your muse? Can you look to your sexual relationship, whether it's with your partner or with, you know, your whoever, you know, even if you're into, you know, I used to like to hunt. Like, I'm too old to hunt now, but I used to like to hunt. So, you know, whoever I was with that at that point, you know, like,
I think when it
can
comes
that
to
person
like
be a muse?
muses, when it comes to muses, I think we weigh too heavily on the act, especially like dealing with erotica. Like, you know, my good friend artist Petula Caesar, she always told me, and it sticks with me. It's not, erotica is not about the act. It's about the thoughts, feelings, emotions before, during, and after the act. And that's what we're writing about. That's what we're writing towards. We are highlighting the emotions, thoughts, feelings, sensations, experience before, during, and after the act. So you can use sex can be a muse, but you have to understand that there's so many other things culminating to create that orgasm for you in that time, in that place, in that moment. And you are even a contributing factor.
Absolutely.
To that. So, you know, yes, you had this orgasm with this person, but you have to think about that person's entire life and mind frame led them here to this orgasm. Your entire life and mind frame led you here to this moment. Their, you know, your mind frame, their mind frame, timing as far as where and when and to how extent, like all that came together. Like, so it's not really even so much like the person is a muse or the act is a muse. Like, you have to think about it as far as you're thinking about, you know, intelligent design.
It's the what's the word I'm looking for?
It's an intelligent design, if you will.
The angle, the vortex,
yeah.
The, you know, of your life coming together at that moment. That moment.
Because you have to be open to receive. Like, you can have, like, every person you could have been with.
You don't have to receive them.
Every person you could have been with could have been your muse. Every last person you could have been with, any person that you may have interacted with, from the major to the minor, to the motherfucker who gave you change to the 7-Eleven, to, you know, to the person that, you know, like straight, you know, fucked every coil clean out your head, could have been your muse.
Right.
Could have been your muse.
Right.
It's about the fact of when you decided to be open to receiving whatever that energy was. And that's what came, and whenever you were open, that is when, you know, whatever you were open to receive, this is what is contributed to now what you're able to expel
you're open,
artistically.
like when you're open to give.
Yes, when you're open to give, when you're open to receive, when you are able in that moment to see beyond yourself, beyond yourself.
And that's always the hard part, because like, I mean, I hate to say it, but humans are selfish.
We are.
You know, we're selfish beings, even though, like, I truly love and honor the fact that I even have a life to live.
Yeah.
I still can't say that I always understand the motivation behind, you know, I'm at a loss for words, which is very rare for me, but I'm at a loss for words. Like, I can't understand how some things are groundbreaking, personally, and some things just wash over. You know,
wonder, like, how did this
things that
happen?
seem so, like they would be so instrumental in my life are completely irrelevant.
Any other time.
Any other time. So, you know, you mentioned something earlier.
Yeah.
And
you
I thought about
good stuff for the commercial breaks. Like, if you ever feel,
you want to outtake, right?
If you feel like you're missing good stuff for the commercial break,
you probably are.
You are.
You probably are. So, like, we were talking on a commercial break because, like, even though you go on commercial, we don't stop the conversation.
No, we don't.
This is hump day
we try to,
discourse.
Yeah, we try to hinder. You know,
yeah,
we try to restrain ourselves.
But you said
we've
something.
been drinking.
Yeah, and she said something. She said something that is so in line with the way that I live, because I always say to my child, right, you can never, anything that's worth having doesn't come easy.
No.
And you took that a step further and said to get something you never had, you have to do something you've never done. I said to someone earlier today, someone who means a great deal to me, I said to her, I said, I think I'm a high stakes gambler.
Yeah.
Because if something means that much to me, I'm all in.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm putting it all on the line. Yeah, can we rebuild? Absolutely. But you don't want to go through a rebuild.
You don't want to.
You know,
you're
putting all your emphasis there. And to stay motivated over something that is not coming easily to you is extremely difficult, I've found. You know, like, trying to find that inspiration to write and to do my live shows and to guest appearances on other live shows, even to just MC something.
Exactly.
Like, I'm finding the inspiration for those things hasn't been supremely easy, and it's hard to stay motivated.
But the return.
Right. It's like you putting in your best. The return is great. You know what the...
And then actually not even really having an intent to receive a return. When you don't expect a return, that's when you start doing stuff you've never done before.
Right.
And that's when it happens, when you get something you've never had.
When you kind of like, fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it.
We doing this or not? Like, let's do this.
The best that I can. I'm going to be open to critique. I'm going to be open to doing something different. I'm going to be open to being, to being outside of it, and that's when the return comes.
Right.
That's when you get something you never had, because you're out here doing something you never did.
Right, because when you put in a lot of work into something and you're not feeling like your work is then feeding whatever the relationship is, whatever that is.
Because that's the whole thing. Because that work,
that's
not what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Like, it's the same old stuff you've been doing. And that's why you're growing weary. That's why, because there's nothing fresh, there's nothing new coming forward.
I can see that.
And that's the whole thing, is like that, and that's why like the Muse was lost, because it's no longer a Muse. You're doing the same stuff.
Because you're looking at your Muse and you're thinking, what did you yield me? You're looking at the person or the piece of work or the music.
And that's the scary part about Muses in a human form.
Right.
Is,
like, I think one of the biggest insults I could probably make to someone, or maybe not, is to someone who I see longevity in our relationship, friendship, whatever it is, business associate, whatever it is, to say to them, you are my muse, because that shows a very temporary position in their life.
Exactly.
In my life.
It's powerful, yet very temporary.
It's powerful for a very set amount of time, and we're talking set amount of time.
And that's the whole thing is like, I've never, I will openly admit, I've dated quite a few artists. In multimedia aspect,
in all kinds of genres and
exactly.
media forms.
And it's just like, I was like, I want you to do this with me on your mind. I wasn't about me being amused. It's like, do this with me on your mind.
Yeah.
Because I know that my desire is to empower. My desire is to inspire. My desire is to change how you've been looking at life thus far. And and some people would assume that I'm desired to just be somebody's muse. But it's not. It's. I just want to bring you closer to your purpose. That's all I want to do, is bring you closer to your purpose.
Right.
Because I'm sitting up here trying to get one step closer to my purpose as well. I'm trying to get one step closer to my greatness every day. And I just want to be, each day that I'm still here, it's gotta be one day closer to my greatness. It's gotta be.
Because I mean, like, we were blessed with this life.
Indeed.
Indeed. To live, not to exist. To live. And living needs inspiration.
Yeah, and it's not even sometimes.
And it's not even about being great.
And it's not even about being great. Sometimes it's like, maybe my life is here to set up for somebody else's life and somebody else's greatness. Maybe I'm just here to be an instrument for something greater. You know, that's, you know, I like, even sometimes it's like everything that I've done or whoever I've crossed with, I see it as like, you know, if nothing else, this isn't about my greatness. This is about the fact of I'm associated with this particular person because this person is going to go on and do this or go forth and do that. Or even with my son, I say, I'm like, you know what, you're the reason why I was born. There was, you know, you're here. Like, at moments like, I just feel like I'm nothing more than a conduit to bring you forth.
Right.
To be able to do something greater. Or
But
even,
and you know what? I'm okay with being, it's funny, I'd rather be someone's medium than someone's muse.
It's a greater thing. It's funny,
you know, like I found that the people who have lasted in my life, who mean the most to me, whether we have an active relationship or not, because just because you're not active in my life don't mean I don't love you.
Yeah.
But I got a limited
I'd
amount
rather
of
be
space.
a medium than a muse.
But
Oh,
I'd
write
rather
that
be
down.
a
Damn.
medium
Yes.
than a muse. You know, I'd
It's
rather
true.
be someone's vehicle of manifestation than their inspiration to have an idea.
It was funny, I was talking with Simply Sharing, and she highlighted something to me. She was like, you know, there are people on the scene who are definitely, like, she was like, compared to a movie, compared to acting, there are a lot of folks who are definitely lead actors and actresses, and then there are supporting characters. She was like, I would like to think of myself, and then she gestured to me, she was like, I really think of you as great supporting characters. She was like, you got to think about it, like, the supporting characters, the supporting actors, supporting actresses, bring all this color, bring all this life, and enhance whatever a lead is doing.
We said it. It's
And we
levels
said
to this shit.
Yeah, it's
like,
levels to shit. And she's like, you bring so much color and so forth. Like, even still, like, even all aspects of me are medium. Like my vocal range, I'm an alto. So, you know, believe it or not, altos, like, vocal, as far as vocal category, bring so much color and depth and width to a harmony. And, you know, that you know, sopranos, yeah, they're great because they just hold the, you know, they hold the melody. Sopranos and baritones, you know, baritones bass hold the melody. Tenors and altos bring the color and the depth and all this.
Depth.
Yeah.
That's the word. That's
the color,
what
they
I'm
bring the
feeling.
color, the
They
character,
bring
the fullness. And I, like I said, being a medium versus being a muse. But there are moments where in your selfishness
because,
you
like,
want it.
I mean, you have like your Kathleen Battles. Who, you know,
Yes,
I love
Kathleen
Battle. You gotta love her.
Kathleen
Amazing soprano.
Exactly.
Right? But she would be a muse. You know? And then you have people, and not discrediting Kathleen Battle, but I'm just thinking of, you know, a different type of voice. You'd have someone like Toni Braxton.
Exactly.
Who brings a warmth,
a full body,
a full body, a vibration that you didn't have.
Exactly.
And she becomes the medium.
And
so
it's
then
quite
you have
as good,
that.
like some major artists, you know, like singers, if you're going to break this down in relation to singers, or altos.
Yeah.
Like, nobody really understands that Whitney Houston's an alto. Like,
yeah.
Let's accept this.
No,
Nobody was to accept
She just
this.
had a really, really
great
powerful
range
instrument,
and
her range went from one end to alto.
Yeah, she was like mezzo-soprano to tenor, and Beyonce the same way. Beyonce's an alto. Nobody wants to admit that. Well, actually, she's a mezzo-soprano. I'm sorry, but she has more range than what most mezzo-sopranos are supposed to. And that's the whole thing. You know, of course, we have great altos, like Anita Baker's a great alto.
I think this is what we have to do, though, because we're talking about not being the muse, not looking for the muse, but being the medium, right? Either the universe's medium, someone's medium, your own medium, right? Like, speaking to yourself, I wonder why we can't embrace, like, and become our own muse.
It's exactly, I think that's what my takeaway from tonight is, to be everyone else's medium, but be my own muse. But be my
own muse. Like, be a vehicle, be that canvas, or you know, fuck that, be the paintbrush.
Exactly.
You know, but when it comes to your own work in your own life, you have to kind of inspire yourself. And it's not easy. You have to dig deep. Like, that whole, like, you know it, my little tagline, that love life, be brave. Like, that is me being my own
I mean, I don't even want to be the paintbrush. I'm more like I'm the person that hooked you up with the good paintbrushes that you're about to use.
Right.
Because that's only because I'm vibrating so much as far as within my own me being my own muse. I'm vibrating so strongly and so existentially that it's carried over.
Right. And that's amazing. You know, like
that's the goal.
It's the goal. Like we are creating a masterpiece. It's going to take all types. Mm-hmm. We'll be right back with Salacious Live, this week's Hump Day Discourse.
Yay.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing!
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Be Exposed Radio.
It's a family affair if you want to look at it that way.
It is. I totally agree, and I believe I believe that this wisdom on the wall is going to be a movement, and that's what I believe we are doing. Is we're creating a movement where people essentially, even after we've presented in these workshops, then they'll be inspired to sort of document some of the things that they've gone through and empower somebody else. So it'll be like a chain effect. So they'll see that, you know, we were just three women who have gone through various things and experiences in our lives, and we just took the opportunity to sit down, put it in a book, and then it'll be a movement, and then other women will be inspired to do the same thing. Let me tell you, we are better together. We are so much better together, family. I'm telling you, when we band together, put our resources and our experiences together, we can create a movement, and that's what it's about, inspiring people to do more than what they may currently see of their own lives, that they can do so much more. So yeah,
you are exactly right.
Be Inspired Radio Show. Tune in every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I want to talk about whole business just now. Yo, you lucky. So we've been drinking since 9 o'clock.
Yeah. So shit, since 8:50. So
you right.
Right. So because we've been thinking, you know, and sometimes, you know, I need a little something to dull it down because there'd be too many thoughts at one time.
I just need something to lubricate, you know, the brain cells.
Lubricate the transition of these thoughts out of my mouth because it can be rough.
Indeed, it can be. This is very true. I think it's also like losing Muse. Not to say like that anyone else doesn't go through these things, but as parents, as professionals, like I still am, you know, like when it comes to like my artistry and my writing, I'm still in paraprofessional stance. I probably could be doing more than what I am. So it's really always about establishing the balance, about understanding what my priority is as far as for my son. My son is now 14 years old. And it's not saying that I am limiting my outlet as far as expressing myself artistically. It's just the fact of my son is entering into the artistic realm. Like he's attending school for the arts. He's doing film. And so he's getting ready to be in the circles that I'm already in.
Which is
trying to see how to navigate
those waters, because that's some shark infested waters.
And you know, there's a lot of people,
the life that we live.
And there's a whole lot of people who are artists, and their children are artists, and their family members are artists, and or rather, you know, they've come in as, you know, their parents are artists and trying to establish themselves artistically in their, you know, in their neighborhood, their region, or whatever, or have you, when their parents have already trailblazed.
I come from that, you know. My father's an artist. Yeah. My mother's a writer. Yes. You know, like it's coming on down the line. Yeah. Like I can't help myself.
And as far as any leaps and bounds that they may have made, and you coming in behind that, and you know, because there's mommy and daddy, and then there's, you know, for my son, there's mommy and daddy, and then there's Najah and Kevin. Right. You know, so it's, you know, having to deal with that.
Right.
And that's already something that kids have to deal with. Anyway. But then you have to deal with not not only does my son have to deal with Najah, he has to deal with Najah being Najah.
Right.
And so it's like,
not only does Bud have to deal with Wren,
yeah,
he has to deal with Dr. Wren, which is a whole nother beast. And I think about that. You know, like Bud's not quite as old as yours, but he's getting there, and he's not dumb.
You gonna blink, and he's gonna be at my son's age. You gonna blink two more times, and he's gonna be out the house.
I blinked, and he went from being an infant in my arms to being this
10-year-old kid, man.
That is a whole other handful.
In my mind, I'm still in a place like. It was hard for me. Like, there were tears. Like, some people don't understand. Like, when parents see their kids grow up, there's crying. Because we're trying to catch up with ourselves emotionally. Like, in my mind, I'm like,
it moves so much faster.
Like, didn't I just bring you home? Like, I haven't moved. Like, I haven't aged. Like, I haven't gone into anything. But you totally mutated into completely.
You're like a whole different kid.
What the hell I had? What the hell I brought home? And it's a lot to wrap your brain around. And then while you're trying to wrap your brain around this, you know, you kind of have to do it very quickly because your kid, especially if your kid has artistic inclinations, is now about to be in the same social circle very quickly within the next 10 years, in the same social circle, an artistic circle that you are currently in. And heaven forbid if you've dibbled and dabbled, you know, very personally in that same artistic circle.
Right.
Heaven forbid. And so it's not so much that I want to limit myself or I want to give into the trappings or bind myself in the chains of patriarchy or whatever, what have you. But I do understand that my son has kind of grown up in favoring, you know, the virgin mother whore thing. Some stuff you don't want to freaking know.
You just don't want to know.
Some stuff you don't want to deal with. And so, you know, I have to, not because I feel like it's proper.
Right.
Because, you know, I'm like a low-key raging feminist. But I, you know... I'm a sleeper cell, if you will.
Right.
But, you know, it's when he's ready, he will. And if I find that he's taking a little bit too long, then I'll, you know, pull him out to the light, kicking and screaming.
Look, you don't have any choice.
Yeah, but for right now, I will let him have it.
And I have to say, in our professional capacity,
yes,
I feel like our boys,
yeah,
I'm not gonna say, if we had daughters, it might be different.
Yeah.
I feel like in our professional capacity, and at the level that we have mastered our craft, we can't have no shoddy ass boys.
No, we cannot. And that's another thing. Like you wanna, if your son is already inclining to the, I don't need to know this right now.
I'm not ready, but I'm just saying.
I'm just ready. But and then there's gonna be a point where it's like, honey, I need to get you ready because I want grandbabies, and honestly, in the quality of women that you need to marry, you can't be operating like this, kid.
Right.
So I need to put you on to some game that your dad might not be putting you on to. Much love to him. However,
this is just what it is. Like, yeah. But I mean, like, you know, it's funny because I said to somebody, actually not too long ago, because people said, you know, you're so different. I said, no, I grew up with my daddy, right? Like the same thing with boys. Like your father will teach you a great many things, and damn, are we happy to have that information. Yes. However, there is something you learn from your mom that you won't learn from anybody else. And it's great, like, you know, there are moments where, you know, much love to my ex-husband, you know, or rather much respect. He is evolved, but not as evolved as he thinks he is. Not as evolved as he thinks he is. Rather, he would like to think he is. Every ex-husband who has ever walked the face of the earth does not think or does think that they are more evolved and more equipped and smarter than they actually are. Like, he understands what it needs to be, but then his personal preference is completely counterintuitive. Of course, because that's how people are. Is he a Cancer? No, Libra. Anyway. Close enough. Close enough. What time is it? You know what? Appreciate it. We got to get ready to wrap this. I know, it's time to go home. Oh my gosh. We're going to stumble home. We got 1 hour. Yeah, we got 1 hour left, a hump day. So we need to go find a wall, a corner, a vibrator, a dick, a pussy, something to hump on. There's a cigarette with my name on it after this. That's for absolutely, goddamn sure. That's for goddamn sure. But for real, you know, it's always love, and I'm anytime I feel so happy to have you here. A whole bushel of folks in here, and speaking of which, I want in on the conclave. Absolutely, I want to, and like we will be building more from here. We'll build some more. You guys, stay tuned. Indeed. Apparently, we need to come out the dark because both of us have been in the shadows.
It's about
probably
that time.
It's about that
2019
time.
is going to be a completely
2019 to
different
be
situation.
here. Let's do some
Completely
let's do
different
some
situation.
shit. So thank you so much, Najah,
It
for
has been my
being
pleasure,
here.
Dr.
This
Wren.
has
It's my
been
pleasure.
not only an inspirational conversation, but also a medium for me to express myself and express.
My desire is for everyone to be at peace with where if their muse isn't coming, if it's not there. Like I said, to really be their own muse. My desire is
just
for them to be at
create
peace.
your own muse within yourself. Find that inner peace.
And if it's not coming, it's not coming.
But we say
live
what?
until it shows up. Live until it shows up.
We say it. Love
Live.
life.
Exactly.
And be brave. Live.
Live.
Unapologetically.
Indeed. If you're doing that, the muse will come, and it could show up in you, or it could show up in another
It'll
person.
show up.
But it's going to show
It'll
up.
show up. All right. Well, that's enough for tonight, guys. Check out the Artist Exchange on Friday at 2 p.m. with your host, Nate.
Yes.
And we will see you
I love
next
that show.
week. It's my last week before vacation. See you next week. Have a good night. Good night.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Monty from Talk Lately. I want y'all to sit back and listen to this flashback. We be tripping.
I mean, really, but I mean, he might have. I got him maybe jacking her up.
The kids said he did it.